Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. I had to make sure I had it right. So I just did a live Tuesday and I always say happy Tuesday. And then I recorded podcast episodes today. So I'm always saying, hey, family. As you were dropping in, if you would just say hey in the comments so I know that you're here. Yesterday on StreamYard, for some reason, my LinkedIn comments were not coming in. So I do have LinkedIn up over here as well, just to make sure I'm not missing anybody. All right, YouTube is coming in. So hello, Charlene. Uh-oh. Let me mute myself on LinkedIn. All right, so we are being goofy again today, and LinkedIn is not popping over here. So I promise you guys I am paying attention, but I'm going to be checking over here as well to make sure that I can see my LinkedIn comments. So Charlene is here. She says hello. Miss Dorothy is here. Miss Dorothy, are you done cooking for Thanksgiving? I think you said your friend is doing carrot cake, but I can't remember what you were cooking. Theresa, hello, hello, our drama therapist. How are you doing this evening? And then over here on LinkedIn, I got a couple of people in, but Letitia, good evening to you. And I do see there's a little bit of a lag over there, so sorry about that. So, Miss Dorothy is finished cooking. Good deal, good deal. This year, I have the privilege of not having to cook anything. I don't even have to bring anything except for my child and husband. So, I'm excited about that. Um, it is the night before Thanksgiving, so I appreciate you guys hopping on here with me. I was going to do a PowerPoint and all that cool stuff, but I was like, it's the night before Thanksgiving. And this is a very informal, I wouldn't even call class. It's free. So we are not going to be doing all the PowerPoint and everything. But because I do get excited about talking about taxes and I get excited about talking about the different goals that I've hit on YouTube, I do have notes here to help me stay on track. Okay. And with that being said, because this is informal, it is not a class. I do want to give a disclaimer. I am not a YouTube expert. I'm just sharing from my experience how I was able to set goals, be consistent, and hit those goals. That's all it is that I'm sharing with you here on tonight. So hopefully you're able to find that same success with your YouTube page. Now, if you're on with me right now, you probably already know who I am, but if you're catching this replay because of SEO, which I'm going to be talking about in a little bit, or you found me on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. So, my name is Timolyn Bowens, and I am America's favorite EA. As an enrolled agent, I'm licensed through the Internal Revenue Service to represent taxpayers in any IRS office in all 50 states. But I can also represent taxpayers all over the world that have US tax issues. I'm also the owner, excuse me, of Bowen's Tax Solutions, which is a virtual firm based in Louisville, Kentucky. So we specialize in helping people that owe $100,000 or more, or they're actively being audited, or they are being levied. All right. So now that we have the introductions out of the way, I want to get into this, but let me go ahead and check the comments. If you have any questions at any time tonight, go ahead and drop those in the comments because, in true PK fashion, I don't plan on being before you very long. However, I am going to ask for your participation because some of the things I'm going to share with you, I don't just want to talk about myself. I actually want to help you work through some of those things as well. So if I ask for a volunteer, ask you to participate, just know we're going to actually take a look at your channel, things that you're planning, and I'll help you work through some of those things. Okay. So Miss Dorothy is finished cooking. Theresa, I am so sorry. She said, hi, I am blessed and well. And let me put this correction up here because I got it wrong. My apologies. So Theresa is the Black drama therapist. So not only does she use drama therapy because she is a licensed therapist, but she also, I've seen different productions that she's written as well. So grateful to have you on here with me. The Wealthy Woman Daily channel says, love it. Karina, hello. And Letitia, I will say this over on LinkedIn, I may not be able to see your comment because I think you have to give StreamYard permission. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to see your comments over here or share them. I'll have to keep my head on a swivel. All right. Miss Dorothy said, fabulous. Yes, I think it's fabulous too. I enjoy just being able to show up and eat. I'm not dressing cute tomorrow. I might even wear sweatpants because I want to eat. Let's see. Charlene said, thank you for sharing your goals and progress. So inspiring. So, guys, the whole reason I'm doing this video tonight, like I said, I don't see myself as a YouTube expert at all. But last year, it was actually around this time because I was looking. I'm a person that likes to write everything out, right? Whether it's up on a whiteboard, I have so many different notebooks, and each notebook is for a different thing. So, a lot of you know that I am a writer. So, for my blogs, I'm like, okay, what do I want to write about? What do I want to research? And I have a notebook where I had goals for 2024. And one of my goals, if you've been following me, you already know, was that by December 31st of 2023, I wanted to monetize my YouTube page. So I reverse engineered what I thought I needed to do to be able to hit that goal within 12 months. And, I did my part, God did his thing. I was able to monetize my page by, I can't remember the exact day, but it was July of this year, right? So in 6.5 months versus 12 months. And, I don't think I'm anything special. I think I just found what worked for me and then stayed consistent. So that's one of the goals that Charlene is referring to. And again, no YouTube expert. Don't you all come after me and saying, hey, it didn't work. But I'm going to share, like I said, what worked for me, how I stayed consistent, and the tools that I used to help me be consistent. So Theresa said, okay, I didn't have it wrong. She wasn't correcting me. Hello, Hello, Karina. Yes, that's going to be me gobble gobble and probably wobble wobble by the time I get done. Theresa says, congratulations. And so does Karina. I don't have anything else over here. All right. So, as I've mentioned, we have Theresa, who is the drama therapist, Black drama therapist. Charlene is a CPA, not an EA, but not exactly in the tax world. So, for the people that I do know on here, and the people that I don't, if you don't mind, as I'm going through these things, I want you to let me know how this applies to you. So, the first thing that I had to do to be able to monetize my page, I needed to establish what my goal was. All right. And that's the first thing we're going to talk about. You need to establish your goals. For those of you that are note takers like me, you can write that down. So, for me, being a business owner, naturally, I wanted to make money, right? But for me, I had to look at this and say, okay, if I don't make money doing this, is it going to be worth it to me? So, for 2023, my goal was to monetize. If you're a business owner, there are different ways we can look at doing that. For me personally, I wanted to monetize through YouTube so that I would start getting passive income through YouTube. Okay. That means right now, I'm not a person that's good with TikTok and Reels and all of those things. I don't even have TikTok. I feel too old to be on TikTok. YouTube has what's called Shorts, which is their version of the Reels, right? Or TikTok. I knew that wasn't my strong suit. So for me, I knew to monetize for YouTube, I needed to get 1,000 subscribers and I need to get 4,000 watch hours, all within at least a 12-month period. So, for you all that are on here, I'm assuming you want to do something with YouTube or else you wouldn't be here, right? What is your goal for YouTube? Is it to monetize and get that passive income through YouTube the way that I want it to? Or is it to convert the people that watch your videos to your email list, which ultimately would convert them to clients? Because I'll share this with you as well. My main goal was to monetize, but being a business owner, it wasn't going to be a complete loss for me if they didn't subscribe, if they opted into my email list so I could continue to nurture them through email, or if I got them to book a call. For me, when I create certain videos, some of them fall under what my personal mission is that I share on my podcast and on my social media. I have a personal mission to fill the tax literacy gap. I have two different levels that I do that at, where I educate the taxpayer directly, or for me, what has a bigger impact is if I educate other tax professionals because they then in turn are going to educate other taxpayers. So when I created videos, I said, okay, if this isn't going to help me monetize immediately, is it going to fulfill my mission to fill the tax literacy gap? So for me, creating those videos even before I was monetizing, it was okay with me. And I had to determine for myself that that was going to be okay because I actually started the channel, I want to say the end of 2018, December 2018. And I put a few videos up in 2019. By a few, what is a few? Three to five. It was literally like 3 to 5 videos. But then when the world was falling apart during 2020, I started doing videos consistently on Facebook and they caught like wildfire. I have a video I checked this evening. It has right under 3,000 views. This is the end of 2020, okay? I put it on YouTube and it was a complete flop. It has less than 40 views after 3 years. That was major discouragement to me because my goal at that time is everybody's going viral on YouTube. I want a video everybody's going to watch. It's going to make me money overnight. And that wasn't the case. So while you may have a big picture goal, you want to set goals underneath that that make it okay for you, that are going to make you show up every week, every other day, whatever your content schedule is going to be, and still feel fulfilled. And for me, it was filling the tax literacy gap. So let me see. So I got 8 people on Facebook. I can't see what I got on YouTube. Um, LinkedIn is being a stinker. I can't see what I got over here either. But I only have one person that's sharing with me. So Teresa, look, we're going to go with you and you're going to be my example person that we're going to help tonight. All right. So Teresa says, I would like to gain 500 subscribers, monetize, and convert them to clients. Amazing. Do you know how many YouTube subscribers you have right now? And I like the way you gave me 3 different goals because, yes, I'm a person that, see, this is what you guys get for not participating. She said, yay. I'm a person where I have to have the big picture goal, but it has to be broken down into steps so that I can realize the different milestones that I've reached to keep on going. So right now, Teresa has 12. So what we want to do with our goal is we want to give ourselves a deadline. Because when we have a deadline, that makes us actually commit to do a certain action to reach that 500. Okay. So for Teresa, and I'm a note taker, so I'm going to actually write this out so I can pull other comments out. And I'm going to use this as an example throughout the rest of the presentation, all right? But if your goal is to reach a certain amount of subscribers, these steps are still going to apply to you. All right. So Karina, we got LinkedIn waking up. She said both monetize and clients. So if we're looking at monetization, Teresa, for you to get that monetization through YouTube, you would need to actually get 1,000 subscribers within 12 months. Now, you can still monetize because you can offer a service in your video, whether that be an ebook, excuse me, for clients in, because I think if you're a therapist, you can only see people in Indiana. If that's incorrect, correct me. And I don't mean just in general. I just mean because I know you're licensed in Indiana. And then you want to convert them to clients. All right. So looking at what you want to do, the next E that we need to take a look at, because we have established your goals, so we've already done that. We need to establish your audience. Now, this is where people go, well, I want to help everybody. Well, guess what? If you go to the mall, and they're not as popular anymore, but if you were to go to the mall, let's say a majority of people here are old enough that the mall was still popular when they were a teenager. All right. And you're going to go to the food court and you are going to just scream out, hey, everybody. How many folks are actually going to turn around if you're just screaming, hey, everybody? Now, you're going to have some because they think you're nuts. But when you talk to everybody and you want to help everybody, that's a good and noble thing. But you can't help people as much if you can't tell them the specific thing that you're going to help them with. You can't tell them the specific thing you can help them with because everybody's unique and different. If you're trying to help everybody, you need to narrow down who you are talking to. And that's so important with YouTube because when you first start on YouTube, no matter who you think your audience is, your audience is Google. So you need to make sure you help Google help you. When you establish that audience, not only is it helping you call out a specific person, yes, other people will turn around. If I'm out somewhere and somebody shouts my name, Timlin, other people are going to turn around as well, but I know they're talking to me, right? With Google, especially when you're starting out, you have to say who you're talking to. The way you say who you're talking to is showing up consistently with a specific type of content. And we're going to get into content and the content pillars a little bit later. But let me see where Theresa is. Who is your audience currently, Theresa? Oh, hey, hey. So, LaShonda Smith. Um, hey, hey, hey. Check this out, guys. So, she is actually helping people right now to build their YouTube channels because she recently, like this week, just hit 1,000 subscribers. So, congratulations to you and thanks for hopping on with me. All right, Theresa, while you were letting me know that, we have Charlene. She says her audience is women in their 30s and 40s in corporate America. So, that most definitely is good and specific. But for that, can you narrow it down just a little bit more or let me know what you're helping them do? Because the next thing we're going to do, so there are 3 E's. When we establish our goals, that's going to help you determine your audience. And let me tell you why. For me, I told you all I'm here to fill the tax literacy gap. Point blank, that's my period, right? And I'm here to talk about taxes. Well, with Bolin's Tax Solutions, I help people that owe over $100,000. There is a specific set of problems that people that owe $100,000 have that people that owe $500 don't have, right? So when I'm establishing my audience, I want to make sure my content is talking to the people up here that owe over 100,000, not the people that owe 500. If my only goal is to convert them to clients. Now, if I want to just monetize and get all the view hours, a lot of people owe $500, right? A lot of people owe $500 because they simply just don't fill out their W 4 right. So, what was I able to do with that information? I said, okay, this isn't going to give me monetization in my business with helping people as tax relief clients. However, a very common problem, something I'm always asked about, is how to fill out a W 4. Could I do that quickly as a service within my business? Yes, but it's not a good use of my time. However, because I'm on a mission to fill the tax literacy gap, I don't mind answering that question on YouTube. So, you know what? I was like, I'm asked this question all the time. This isn't my business audience, but I can help these people here still stay on my topic with taxes, still stay on my topic with tax relief and preventative care so you don't owe the IRS. But this isn't a person that would hire me. Those are the main people that help me monetize my YouTube page. What happened was first, because I told you guys I'm a writer, I wrote a blog article on how to fill out a W 4 properly to avoid owing the IRS. And to this day, that blog keeps traffic on my website. I wrote that in 2021. So I said, let me do a video and show people how to do it. That video took off. So this year, what I did, I said, what different people need to fill out a W 4 and what different scenarios? So I did a W 4 series. Those videos combined have almost 80,000 views. Just 5 videos because I had to establish what my goal was. If I was only focused on getting clients, those videos would not have been good for me. But because I realized for 2023, I just wanted to monetize YouTube, I didn't want to convert those to clients yet. I was able to make the decision to do those videos to get my page monetized. Does that make sense? All right. So, Charlene, I'm coming back to that. Theresa says African American woman and faith based. Okay. This is good for when we get to the content section. And y'all, I'm a note taker. Something happened 4 years ago when I turned 30, and like I can say something, and as soon as I say it, it's out of my head. So like I have to write it down. All right. So Charlene says, congratulations, LaShonda. Charlene has black corporate women, their 30s to 40s. Charlene, I feel like I'm cheating here, but don't you help those black women do a little bit something else? I know it's black women, corporate women, 30s or 40s, but I feel like there's something else. There's something else that you help them with, and it's not fashion. So LaShonda says, thank you, everybody. Theresa says, they are 30 to 45-year-olds, working black women. Thank you. And I'm not being funny. The more specific that you are to your audience, the better you can call them out. And we look, you gave me some ammo for this content section, okay? So let's see. They're 30 to 45. They feel burnt out and ignored. All right. Professionally and personally. Sorry. We're about to have some fun with that. All right, here we go. Charlene. Helping black women in their 30s and 40s use their workplace benefits and individual accounts to earn passive income through dividends. There we go. Very, very specific. I was gonna say you got a little bit more than that. Karina says makes sense. Thank you. Camilla, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining. Your yes, I'm gonna assume that makes sense. Yes, I'm not the only person writing everything down because Theresa is too. All right, now Karina, with your woman of color, faith based. So Charlene has identified who she's helping and what she's helping them with, and so has Theresa. So with your woman of color, faith based, what are you helping them with? Here to help and walk you through. Theresa says, I help them love themselves again and live abundantly. Awesome. All right. So, if you guys are enjoying this on Facebook, I would love if you guys would share it. This is going to get posted to YouTube later. But I like the live interaction. When we went into COVID, I took off teaching on these types of platforms, but I always still prefer teaching in person where I can touch people. So the more people that are in here, the better energy and stuff that I have. But so we've established your goals. We've established the audience. Some of you guys are going to give me a little bit more clarity on that audience. And then we have a third E. All right. And with this third E, what you are going to do is establish yourself as the expert. These three things you need to make sure that you have done before you even hop on YouTube. All right. Now, you may be thinking, now, how am I going to do that before I get on YouTube? When you look at what your goal is, the audience that you are going after, you have to have in your mindset that you are the expert to help them. All right. So, for those of you that have been following me, I don't say lightly, I'm America's favorite EA. I used to say, I'm your favorite EA. Somebody else kind of came, took the paperwork thing. It was whatever. And I was working with a coach mentor, and they're like, but you're America's favorite EA. Don't you have people out of the country? Don't you have people on the West Coast, East Coast? And until I actually felt it, I was like, wait a minute. I am America's favorite EA. Like, who am I playing with? But me putting myself there with that expert status not only affects my mindset, but it affects how I show up on camera for you guys. All right. So that is something. What do you have to offer the internet that makes you unique? I tell you guys, I'm here to fill the tax literacy gap. So, as America's favorite EA, hitting it at two different levels, I'm here to advocate for the taxpayer and the tax professional to help them level up their EA game. All right. So, for you, Theresa is the Black drama therapist. That's very specific. She's the expert. I don't have to wonder too much what she does and how she helps. Now, in her content, she can share more about helping African American women love themselves, that she's a Black drama therapist. She's specifically helping women between the ages of 30 and 45. But when she shows up on YouTube, and this is anywhere, but especially YouTube, because that's what we're talking about today, she has to own, I am the Black drama therapist. What's that mean? Say it with your chest. Like, you have to have a little swag about that, right? So before you even hop on YouTube, we need to make sure you have your goals established, have your audience established, and you need to establish yourself as the expert. So, right now, I have a community called the Tax Pros Representation Journey. And every week, they have a podcast for me and an article, and it is a paid subscription. But before we could even work on any goals, I needed them to believe in who they said they are when they show up on the internet. And I tell them too, like, say it with your chest. I have different notes here at my desk so that I can remind myself of things, and I see it over and over and over again until I believe it and I can show up as that person and embody that. You all have to do the same thing because, yes, your first videos may not be awesome, they may not be great. I left some of my first videos up because they're cringy just so I can see the progress and be able to be like, wow, I really have come a long way. But I've come a very long way, and yes, those are cringy, but now I can embody, I'm the expert in what I do. I can show up like that every single time. So let me see. Karina says she helps the women of color, faith based, help them get their peace of mind and educate them so they don't get in tax and money troubles. Love it. Charlene is the dividend queen. And just in case, because I do actually own this book as well, Charlene has a book called no, Dividends Are a Queen's Best Friend. I have the ebook on my Kindle that you can get on Amazon, but it really is a nice stocking stuffer as well if you want to get a hard copy and give to a young lady in your life. You guys know I like to break down things so I can have a conversation about it with my 9-year old. She likes to read some of my books. Dividend investing and saving was broken down in a way that even Jemiah could understand. So if you're interested in like investing, earning dividends, that type of thing, you really should go check out the book. You can find it on Amazon, but Charlene, if you can find it somewhere else, feel free to drop that into. So Charlene wants to start off talking about HSAs, Roth IRAs, and all the accounts you can use to build your portfolio. Awesome. Theresa says, Karina, we need to collaborate. My audience could use you too. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. And actually, like while you're in here, I was thinking about the different synergies because I know a little bit more background information than you all do about people, right? Um, Theresa, you and Arlene, even maybe, because if we think about saving and investing and the anxiety people get around that, and how some people can't put away and save and they're bad with their money because they don't love themselves and they're burnt out. Like they're just all different ways that this could roll. And we're about to get right into the content and different collaborations, but I'll hold that. So Camilla says, can you repeat the book name? Thank you, Charlene. The book name is Dividends Are a Queen's Best Friend, and it is available on Amazon. So, my folks on LinkedIn, I am so sorry. Tonight, StreamYard is being weird. They were yesterday too. I'm not seeing you all's comments over here. So, I am going to have my head on a swivel. So, now we have Donna Russell that has hopped on and said, hey, hey, Donna, thank you so much for being with me. Letitia, I don't know if you hopped back on Facebook or not, but thanks for being on LinkedIn for a little bit. So now that we have your goals established, your audience established, you are the expert. And for real, you got to believe that, guys. You, because I don't want to say the algorithm, your audience can smell when you don't believe what you're selling. Okay. So if I say I'm America's favorite EA, this is who I help, this is how I help them. If I don't believe that, they're not going to believe that. They're not going to watch my video. They're not going to subscribe. So really, there's no point me being on YouTube. You know what I mean? One of the things that somebody suggested to me to help me embody that expert status, they were like, think about your wins. What you help people do, make a list of people that you've helped do that promise that you're making in the video. Who is the easiest to work with? Who is the most difficult to work with? What type of feedback did you get working with those? Who did you feel most comfortable talking to? I want you all to do the same thing because every time you turn the camera on and you look in that camera, you need to talk to that person that was easiest for you to talk to. You need to talk to that person that you helped the most because something worked in that communication and you were able to convey what you needed to them to get the results. Same thing with your video. If you're going to be the expert and you are selling that you're the expert, because you really are, you just have to have the confidence to show that on video. You need to talk to that client that you helped with that situation. Okay? And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. Oh my goodness, we've been here 36 minutes. But it's okay, right? If you guys want me to get off, then you tell me to get off. Or I'll finish and you just get off. Charlene said, thanks, no problem at all. So now that we have an audience, we have the goal, expert status, we're going to look at the content pillars. So typically I suggest having 3 content pillars. I do this with my writing as well. And I do have to admit that writing and understanding how people search things on the internet did help my YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But with the three content pillars, right now we have, let's use Teresa. The main thing that she's wanting to convey is that she's a therapist, right? She also is working with African American faith based women. They're between the ages of 30 to 45 that feel burnt out and ignored professionally and personally, and she's helping them love themselves. So when we look at that, our content has to connect with people emotionally, even if it's technical. Now, for me in the tax world, and a few of you all here in the tax world as well, that feels almost impossible sometimes, but it is possible. Going back to the W 4 videos, I was like, this is so boring. If HR can't help people do this, how am I going to do it? When you figure out what your content pillars are, one of the things that you're going to want to do is look at other people that have done similar content. I'm not saying steal what they did. Look at the videos that got a lot of views and look at the comments. Half the time I didn't watch the W 4 video. I know how to fill out a W 4, right? What I did is I looked at the comments. A lot of the comments said thanks, but this was boring. So I was like, what can I do to make mine not boring? I looked at all of the questions that were asked. There were multiple videos that had the exact same questions. So in my video, I wanted to make sure I answered the questions that were being asked in everybody else's video. I didn't want to overlook those, right? I also looked at what they did good based on the comments because these comments, those people that are engaging, are going to determine how quick you get monetized, right? Because they're going to either keep watching or they're going to dislike the video and then you go further down the first page, right? So, with your three content pillars, if you're the expert in what subject matter, what three things are you going to talk about? For me, number one, I'm talking about taxes, right? So, I specialize in back tax relief, tax resolution, however you want to look at it. But I also talk about preventative care. So even though I did a W 4 video and that wasn't going to convert somebody to be my client to help with tax relief, I still stayed in alignment with my purpose and my expertise because people appreciated me doing them a favor to help them avoid becoming my client, right? The second one is mentorship and community. I always talk about the importance of having somebody to guide you and having a community to keep you accountable. The third pillar is small business owner woes. When I look at all three of those, almost every single one of my videos is going to hit all three of those pillars. When you look at your three pillars, can you make content that's going to help or not hit? Not help, sorry, hit all three of those. So for Teresa, if we're looking at African American women, faith based women that feel burnt out and ignored, and you're helping them love themselves, what could potentially be your three content pillars there? So let me look at the comments. I am so sorry, LinkedIn folks. So Charlene says, most of the people I've worked with are 50 and up, and my target has been 30s and 40s, so I've been going back and forth with my audience. Well, when we're looking at the people that you've helped being 50, something that you could do is think about the things your clients that are 50 said they wish they would have known 20 years ago. Because you can still take your content and tailor it to that. Because if you start stories off with my 50-year-old client said when they were 30, they wish they would have known, or three mistakes to avoid before you turn 50 or before you turn 40, that's still going to call the attention of the people that you want to work with. But I do understand because sometimes, and I tell people too, you really can't figure out who your audience is sometimes until you actually work with them. And you may not have the experience working with them yet until your content calls them in. So when I first started working with people that owed over $100,000, that was an accident. I was not trying to do that. But I enjoyed the process and learning it and learning their pains. So that's when I realized the information that I put out needs to be tailored to them. And I was able to call more of them in as I talked about their problems. But if I decided to target another area, I know that I can use information like these are the things you need to do to avoid $50,000 of debt. These are the things you need to set in place to avoid $100,000. So you can still use the experience that you have to do case studies for what those people wish they would have known, what you're doing right now so you don't end up like your clients. So there's definitely different ways that you can tailor that. Theresa, I think this is for you. And I think on Facebook they can't see the comments, but Charlene said your audience may be able to use their tax advantage health savings accounts to pay for therapy services. Charlene, I actually thought of that too. But Theresa, just in case you didn't know, um, that is something to look into for your clients that have HSAs. Maybe an HSA eligible expense. All right, Karina says content pillars, taxes, faith based encouragement. Not sure on the third just yet. Well, Karina, because we're connected on Facebook, which is so crazy because we just got connected on Facebook. I didn't realize it was only Instagram. I see you talking about taxes. I see you sharing faith based encouragement. Something that I didn't know about you that I connected with is that you homeschool your children. For those of you that don't know, I was actually homeschooled through seventh grade. Then I went to private school, then I went to public school, then I went to a private Catholic college. With that being said, if you wanted to target faith based moms who homeschool their children, are also entrepreneurs, that's a good synergy. But even if you don't want to target them in your content, if you want to incorporate your children somehow because you homeschool them, and no, you don't have to show their faces, you don't have to share their names, you can just share stories about them because a lot of tax situations, depending on who you're working with, if you're working with mostly married couples, families, they're still going to understand that family aspect and dynamic. And you homeschooling just adds another dimension to that that makes it interesting. So, your three contents that you talk about on your page could be taxes, faith based encouragement, and being homeschooled. So if you wanted, because you can create playlists on your channel, you could have homeschool faith based encouragement, you could have tax faith based encouragement, you could look at business owners, families, however you want to make those intersect. And with that, you just have to make sure all of your content hits at least one of those pillars. For me, I like to make sure that it hits at least two. Charlene said that was good. Love it. Theresa, content pillars, loss of self worth, ways to love self and how, faith in health. All right. So I'm going to challenge you with that. Those are very, those can be vague. I don't want you to have it vague if you're scared of narrowing it down. Because here's the thing when you narrow stuff down, we think that we're putting ourselves inside of a box, which sometimes we are. But when we offer a service or we're putting out content, I say in every video that I help people that owe $100,000 or more, do you think that makes the person that only owes $10,000 not reach out to me? I had a call with somebody this week that owes under 20,000. So I just want to encourage you with that. You can narrow it down as long as you're still saying the women that are between 30 and 45, they're still going to all, well, not all, but mostly turn around as well. I think what will happen with you, or not happen, but work best with you, which is cool because you're a drama therapist and writer. How can you incorporate stories using those three pillars of content to hit all three? Yours is trickier. So for mine too, we have, taxpayer privacy and all that kind of stuff, confidentiality. You do as well. But what are certain scenarios that you could use or where you could change different elements to tell a story of how somebody went from feeling a loss of self worth and take your audience through that journey to faith and healing? What I recommend for people to do, because we're getting ready to go to the next C, you don't have to have a video that's as long as this one right now. We're at like 47 minutes. You think I started out doing 47-minute videos? No, I did 3 to 5 minute videos. And I even did faceless videos, which is another thing. There are different illustrators and things. That's expensive, so you may not want to go that route. Maybe you want to do something kind of like where we have music and it shows the lyrics, something where you're telling the story and it switches from pictures, illustrations of different women for how they had this problem, they experienced what you have, and now they no longer have that problem, or maybe they still have it, they struggle with it, but now they have these tools to help them overcome it. There are a lot of different ways to skin the cat here. All right. So Charlene says, just gave me 10 ideas. Thanks. You are very welcome. Oh, snap. Teresa says, say it again, please. I think when you say it again, you're talking about what me and Charlene said. So therapy is potentially an HSA eligible expense. So if Charlene's talking about HSAs and capitalizing on them for African American women between 30 and 40, one of the things they can use their HSA to pay for is therapy, right? So that's a potential synergy that you all have right there, where maybe you all have an interview on one of your channels, or you have the interview, then you both post it, where you have Charlene as the expert letting this Black woman, this African American woman, know, hey, if you have an HSA, you potentially don't have to pay for this therapy session out of pocket or tap into your insurance yet. Then we have you as an expert therapist on Charlene's page saying, hey, excuse me, yes, you just pointed out that HSAs are something that can cover your therapy session. These are the types of therapies that could potentially be covered. Because remember, you are the therapy expert, Charlene is the HSA expert. So she's talking about how the HSA can cover it, and she knows what types of therapy, but she doesn't really know what they mean. She's then going to lean on you as the expert therapist, so that way both of your audiences are getting more information, and you all have a new piece of content that it can even be chopped up and distributed all kinds of ways. But let's keep going. So for Charlene, interviews with financial experts, wealth, health, and self-care summit, and dividend investing education. All right, so Charlene, your three pillars, I think your three pillars are actually three different content um, distribution types. So the interviews with financial experts, like that's a method of getting the content out for the YouTube channel. But like, is there anything specific that you guys are talking about? Are you guys only talking about finances? So would one pillar actually be the finances? The second pillar be health and self-care, and then dividend investing? Because I see the ways that you're getting the information out, but not necessarily what the focus is in the three areas. Yeah, so see, uh, Teresa says, oh, yes, I tell women that. I did a podcast explaining in and outs of insurance, EAP, and FSA, and HSA. So when you did that, though, and this is why I tell people too, If it was on a YouTube channel, cool, for monetization, but you want to be strategic in how you do it and realize what your goals are. If your goals are to get African American women that can afford to pay you, Charlene's corporate women are probably going to be women who, yes, they want to use their HSA to pay you, but then are going to be willing to make sure that you get paid through insurance or however else above that. So I don't know who your podcast interview was for. I'm just saying take that kind of stuff into consideration. And if you did a podcast episode for that, one thing that I learned as well, content that you do anywhere else can work on your YouTube channel. When I do free interviews, um, like if I'm not tagged or whatever, and when I was building up for consistency, I would ask if I could have a raw copy of it and post it out to YouTube or send it out to my email list. So Charlene says, yes, I host summits with self care experts and talk about how they can use tax advantage accounts to pay for services and supplies. Very cool. I hope you break up the segments and make them separate YouTube videos. All right, guys, let me go. So we got two more two more C's, and I'm gonna keep moving. If you guys are okay, give me a thumbs up, uh, like the video, heart the video. So let me look at this next C, which we kind of talked about already. So when you're crafting your content, something that you want to take into consideration. How do you want this to look? Let me take your comment down. So for me, and for a lot of you that may not be like where you want to be yet with getting the content out, sometimes you're just burnt out showing up, right? Your face online. Something that you can do is have a faceless page. Those videos that I told you have all those views with the W4s, there are some people that do them and they have their face there split screen with the form. I was like, when I'm filling out this form, people don't care about me. They don't care what I look like. They just want to make sure they understand what I'm saying. My best performing videos to date do not have my face on them. For what you're doing, are you sharing something where it's easier to show them than tell them? If that's the case, start with that type of content to get your YouTube self esteem up, to be consistent and get that information in. But that is going to go back to establishing your audience and knowing what they want and need. If you aren't sure on who your audience is and what they want, you wouldn't know what types of videos you can afford to do faceless and which kind you can't. So Charlene says, I love that. I want to do faceless videos ASAP. But I mean, seriously, and even how I shared with Teresa, maybe you don't want to show up. Maybe you want to add soft music, which with YouTube Creator Studio, which is free, they have a feature now where like you can add in is unlicensed what I want to say. You can add in like soft music, you could have pictures popping up. Do something like that. Just get the content out. And again, like you guys notice, I didn't talk about you need this kind of mic, you need this kind of camera. Go look at some of my first videos. They're a little dingy. But I mean, even now, I have a gamer mic. I got a webcam that I won off something. And I look better today than I do on Tuesdays because my daughter looked at my lighting and she was like, Mom, no. So I have lights set up. Okay. Yes, aesthetically pleasing videos will have people click on them, but they won't necessarily keep people on them. There's somebody I just saw recently, and like they do all this editing and everything. And I was just like, I felt intimidated by their page. I just saw them today post that they finally got monetized. I was like, what? I thought they'd been monetized. Don't worry about all the fancy editing if you don't have to. Just get the content out. So, Charlene says she wants to do faceless videos ASAP. Camilla says She wants to do faceless videos also. So, Camilla, for you, what are your three content pillars that you're doing? Because let's get some ideas going. Because I it's supposed to be for EAs, so maybe I should help them out. Um, for you with this content, right? What are your three pillars? Because what I want to do, let's get you a few video ideas that you could do faceless. Yeah, Charlene, yours is pretty cool because a lot of people that don't understand how dividends work or how they are taxed, you could very easily do. I've seen where they have like the chalkboard background. It looks kind of like a PowerPoint. So it looks like you're writing as you're talking. So even with dividends, because you know people are nosy, you could do case studies on different companies and the dividends that they gave out or paid out rather. And when you do that, excuse me, you could have the illustration, and what the illustration is showing is how that dividend actually affected somebody's tax situation. Because that's the kind of thing people want to know when it's dealing with money. Like, how much is this going to actually cost me? So, if you are able to show them that, they're probably not going to want to see your face either. And not that anything's wrong with your face. I should have said they're not going to care to see your face during that time. Charlene says, yes, I've been wondering how I could get unlicensed music. I have a ton of videos from an event I attended, but I need music. Um, so there is some that is licensed that you can purchase. Let me let me talk to my podcast producer because if you guys have ever listened to my podcast, the Tax Relief with Timlin Bowen's podcast, it is anywhere you stream videos, but it's also on Facebook now, right? So what we did when we were getting everything set up, he found different music samples and I picked what I liked. But I think my music, it was under $50. And then I have unlimited use as long as I don't use it on a product that I'm selling, right? So that's one way. But then taking advantage of YouTube Studio, which you may have to be monetized first to be able to take advantage of everything. They have artists that are trying to get their music out. So they've made agreements with YouTube that like different creators can use their music, but they still get like the credit for it. I don't care about giving you the credit for it. Like, as long as I get to use this nice music free, right? But yeah, that is one option. Look at the Creator Studio, and I'll reach out to Jim. It's the holiday. Uh, maybe I'll give him the weekend, but I'll reach out to him Monday, or unless I see it, because it might be in my email where we got the music from. Because they have a huge library. You can choose like any genre you want to. And they're all relatively inexpensive because it's different artists like trying to get their stuff out. So Camilla says, I offer tax planning and compliance for musicians, media, and creative entrepreneurs. Very cool. So Camilla, same thing. When you are talking to your audience, you definitely want to make sure you're calling them out. Um, when you do that, they're going to be interested in seeing how the different scenarios are going to affect them. So you could type up on a PowerPoint or on Canva, what have you, if you want to make it all cutesy, but type out different case studies and situations and walk them through it. Almost like if you're giving a presentation and you're just turning your camera off. So, for example, if you wanted to show somebody, a creative entrepreneur, how their taxes will be impacted if they have a W 2 job where they make $20,000 and they also make $30,000 in their business, what does that look like? That's just one option to show how 1099s are going to affect their taxes. You could do it with how the business use of home deduction is going to affect their taxes. There are a lot of different things that you could do as well. Um, even I would take a look at other people's faceless videos because what you would do with that, use the same tax scenarios, but because you're so niche down, just customize it to your niche. Again, look and see what worked for them, like what questions people had. Make sure you answer that for your niche in it. And then We're going to talk about tags. Make sure that you tag the video. So, yes, it's going to have the ordinary tag stuff, but it's also tagged to your specific niche. So, those people, when they're looking up, okay, taxes for musicians, you're probably going to be one of the first people up there because a lot of people don't understand how keywords work and how people are searching things. So, that gives you an advantage for your video to be one of the first ones people see. And they actually see like it's being explained in a way where they can read it and hear it, and they're not just looking at somebody and like eyes kind of glazing over, right? Charlene said, I've been wondering about that. How do you get videos like that? I think I answered it, and I see you said thanks, so I'm going to assume that I did. Karina said, that's so good. Thank you, Karina. Camilla, they need to be able to save on tax, have proper records, and have their money stretched during times when cash flow is low. Know any other industries like that? I'll give you one, the trucking industry, transportation. Um, there are a lot of others, but again, so you can take tax topics that are already out there, but based on your experience working with these people, niche it down and make sure that you are tagging it so it's calling out those people, and as they're searching for things specific to their situation, you'll pop up. Yes, Charlene said actors. Absolutely. Thank you, Camilla. She said these are great ideas. Awesome. I think LinkedIn gave up on me. Sorry, guys. Um, all right. So faceless is an easy one. Interviews have already been mentioned. If you were comfortable talking about something, but you want to make sure you don't miss a point, having an interview with somebody is an easy way to get it out. Now, if you have an hour-long interview, yes, if it's very intriguing, people may, sit there and watch the whole thing. But if we're looking at something, so for example, if you guys weren't going to hang with me all night, because I thought I was going to be done like 45 minutes, I could have broken this up into three different sections. And I may even do that before I post it online, right? Because I'm going to take it down and repost it to YouTube. Each point that I've had scrolling across, I could break this down into 6 different videos because some people that hop on looking for this topic are only going to want to know about establishing their goals. Some people are going to want to only know about the content pillars. So that's another way that you can optimize your long content because we think it's amazing, we think it's great. Everybody is not going to sit there through a long video just because we live in a popcorn society, right? Everything's instant. We want it right now. We want the answer without having to do any work. So just keep that in mind if you are doing interview style. Let it go as long as it goes, but just make it a series. Or use a tool like the banner that I have going across right now so that it easily breaks itself up. So yeah, you can have the whole video out there if somebody wants to sit and watch the whole thing, or you can break it up into however many parts you need to. Okay? Faceless, interview, and how to. For my tax people, how to is going to make you blow up. All right. So, Camilla, for you, if you have these different musicians and who are the other people, creative entrepreneurs. So, I'm not sure where you were saying creative, like on YouTube or creative, like artists. When these people get commissioned, think about this. What is a form of paperwork that they have trouble filling out? It's usually a 1099. There are a lot of videos how to fill out a 1099, but don't you think that it would be more powerful if you, as the subject matter expert for creative entrepreneurs, did a 1099 video for those people? So, how to fill out a W 9 as a creative entrepreneur? Those people would search that way, right? So that automatically positions you in a spot where they're like, hey, I should probably subscribe to this channel because she knows how to talk to people like me. She knows how to help me. So she's going to put out more content that helps people like me. That's another reason why you have to stay consistent with whatever works, because those same people that you helped before are going to come back again expecting you to be able to help them. Okay? Charlene says, if you break it up, how will someone be able to see the entire series? Will each video automatically go to the next one in the series? Okay, so that's a very good question. So when you upload something to YouTube, um, I want to say it's the second to last screen. There's an option to add end screen. So people get confused here and they think that they have to add an end screen that they've created. When you click the add end screen, you can actually, there are different options, and one of them is to suggest subscribing to the channel and suggest the next video. So YouTube can suggest the next video based on their preferences. I don't ever let YouTube do that. When I have them suggest the next video, I always choose a video that's going to make sense with that. All right. So it does not automatically do it. It's something where you help the algorithm help you, because when you have suggest next video, it will ask you what video you want it to suggest. So for me, if I'm helping somebody and all right, so I talk about tax liens and tax levies, right? So for me, through the process of when people owe the IRS, there's a tax lien established first, then a tax levy. I want these people to act fast. There's urgency. Those two videos are created not to monetize me through YouTube. Those are created to convert into clients. And thankfully they have. So those were created differently. At the end of that lien video, it suggests the next video for what is a tax levy. The next video suggested is my process and how I work within my office with clients. So there is a way on that end screen where you can have it go to the next thing, or because you have different events, you can create a playlist within your channel from the different events. And I think with a playlist, it automatically goes to the next one. All right, so I think I've covered everything, all the questions. So the last C, and then we're going home, unless you guys have some questions. All right. We have content distribution. So there is a creator, he's Canadian, I think Ross Simmons, and he says content once, distribute forever. So you guys heard me mention the podcast, and I've talked about faceless videos. When I create podcast episodes, what I did was I took frequently asked questions that honestly I didn't want to respond to an email anymore, um, or answer the phone. But excuse me, they're about, all the podcast episodes are around 15 minutes, and that's before the intro and outro. When you're creating stuff on YouTube, you want to think too, if your goal is to monetize through YouTube, what do people ask me all the time? Because if people are asking you that all the time because they think you're a subject matter expert, guess what? Help YouTube think you're a subject matter expert, because people are probably Googling the same thing all the time. So going back to the podcast, I said, how can I create once and distribute forever with this? Guess what? YouTube created a YouTube option. Or I'm sorry, YouTube created a podcast option. So I have a playlist and they push it out as a YouTube podcast. So my podcast is on YouTube as faceless videos. It's just the cover to my podcast, and each episode is there, but it's also optimized so that when people search, they may not have found my podcast because I don't want to say it's popular now, but I mean, how many tax relief podcasts are there, right? But when they look for that topic, they find my podcast. They find me because of YouTube with the faceless videos, because in 15 minutes, I'm answering their question, right? For you, what is not worth you getting on the phone anymore, or are you writing out a long email dissertation about, but you're asked all the time? That is something that you should probably create a video about, right? And if you think, well, I don't know all the answers, that is something where you should probably do an interview style video about, right? With your content distribution, you have to make sure that you are showing up consistently. With your three pillars of content, you should be able to look at that. And for each one, just starting out, you'll probably be able to do more than this, but just starting out for right now. What are 15 questions? So, 5 in each pillar that people ask you about all the time. When you're looking at that, if you have more than 15 right off the bat, I don't want you to get so excited that you post a YouTube video every day, right? This is a marathon, not a sprint. So you want to make sure that while you are doing this, you can batch record for sure, but schedule them out with your content distribution. Time to go to bed. You have to make sure that you stick to whatever you commit to doing. Now, have I always done that? No. This past Monday, did a video go out? No. I had every intention of a video going out. I had the video up and I didn't schedule it. What happened was I sat down to take a 20-minute power nap at 5:30 and I woke up at 1 in the morning. But that's neither here nor there. But I want you, like, seriously, you are the expert. Your energy is going to show. When you have those 15 topics, you have those FAQs, you know exactly how people ask them, and that's exactly how you want to put your title because you're telling Google, hey, I know the answer to this. I would love for you all to make a commitment of once a week. You could do Monday like I do. For somebody like Teresa, it could be the end of the week as things are calming down, helping the woman prepare for the weekend. Or it could be Sunday night, helping them prepare for the week, right? That's another thing when you're thinking about your audience and why you really have to start there with knowing your goals and your audience. When would they ideally listen to it or watch it if you're showing your face, right? So for me, people searching for tax problems are usually looking between 12 a.m. and 4 a.m. My videos come out Monday at 8 p.m. So it gives YouTube a little bit of time to pick it up before they're up late searching for the rest of the week. The Tax Relief with Timlin Bowens podcast come out on Friday because those are targeted towards business owners that own a certain amount. The majority of time, a business owner is going to take care of everybody else and their customers before them. So even if I did put it out earlier in the week, realistically, those business owners are not going to listen to it till the end of the week. Usually Friday night or Saturday. That's when my analytics go up. So for you, understanding when you should distribute the content is going to be very important because if people are watching when it first comes out, that's going to be another signal for YouTube that, hey, you should pay attention to this video. So Charlene says, how can I put my Spotify podcast on YouTube? So are you actually creating it on Spotify? What was it before? Anchor. Right now, I use Libsyn. My podcast producer uses Libsyn. And they just made an adjustment so that when it's uploaded to Libsyn, it goes over. But we still have to add it to the podcast playlist, and we still have to add the tags. Right now on your YouTube channel, if you wanted to show up as a podcast, when you upload videos, I'm gonna have to look to make sure this is right. But when you do it initially, it will ask you, and you can select that as a podcast. And what it does, it just creates a podcast playlist, but they name it podcast. So before that even became a thing, I'd only uploaded like 2 episodes and I just called it Tax Relief with Timlin Bowens. But no, they call it podcast, and you want to make sure it actually goes into their podcast thing, because then if somebody's looking on YouTube Music and they look at the podcast category, you'll pop up in there. So it's really no different than uploading any other video, as long as you have the audio file and then you have your podcast, not word art, clip art. You can add it over manually that way. I don't know right now if Spotify has a way when you upload it for it to automatically go over there yet. I would assume so, because the whole YouTube music and podcast platform is really taken off, but I don't know for sure. Karina says, this has been super helpful. So glad I hopped on. I gained so much clarity and actionable items to move forward. So grateful for you. Thank you, Karina. Charlene. Oh, I have the recording on my phone. I upload to Anchor. Let me think about how we did it. Oh, now this may take longer, but I just thought about a way that we used to do my audio recordings. Now it may take a while to upload, but you can on Canva, if you have your clip art, you can add the sound to it that way, then download it. And what it does, it creates it as an MP4. Yes, not MP3 because that's audio only. An MP4, and then you download the MP4 and just upload it into YouTube. Now, when we were manually uploading things, I'm not sure what my assistant uses to do it, but that is a way that you can do it. I don't think your podcast episodes are that long. I know the 15-minute episodes, they don't take that long in Canva to download, but that is another way that you can do it. Um, if you have it somewhere other than your phone, but I mean, if you have the Canva app on your phone, you could do it that way as well. I'm sure it would probably work. It would just take up a lot of space. All right, Charlene also says, thank you for everything. Happy holidays to you and your family. You all are very welcome. I do have two more things. Not long things, very quick things. So, because I've been asked to do this, um, just like I told you all, you make a video about frequently asked questions, right? I'd been asked to do this quite a bit, actually. I was surprised. What I'm opening up to my email list, and this is specifically for tax representation stuff. Um, I'm going to open up to them first. Hot seat coaching. If that's something you guys are interested in for YouTube, if I have 5 people, I will do a session. This is what it looks like. So it will be 2 hours total. In those 2 hours, I'll do a 20-minute training. It'll be more formal than this. So you will actually have a slideshow and a workbook that I've created with some of the things we covered today, but then with some other steps as well. And after that 20 minutes is up, then the 5 people in there each get 20 minutes of hot seat coaching. So, what does that look like if you've never done it before? Um, Let me see. Well, hey, Austin, I didn't know you were in here since I have your name up. So, we would have Austin if she's in the hot seat coaching, and we're going to pull Austin up on the screen with me. We'd be in Zoom though. We're going to pull her up on the screen with me, and I'm going to ask her where she's stuck, what her ideas are, and for 20 minutes, I am hers. But because it's hot seat coaching and everyone else is in there, you get the opportunity to watch that as well. It sounds weird if you've never done it before, but I actually personally prefer hot seat coaching now versus one on one. And that's for me as a consumer, because when you're in a group coaching thing, doing hot seats with people that are all moving toward the same goal as you think of things you wouldn't have thought of before, or they're going through things and thinking of things and asking things that you wouldn't have asked before. So I have found that helpful. And I mean, honestly, it's a better use of my time too. Full transparency, like I said, for my tax representation people, I'm only doing 2 sessions. I'm only opening up 10 spots. What it looks like for them, for each person, it is $300. If I had 5 people that were interested in doing that specifically for YouTube, you don't have to be an enrolled agent because the same YouTube stuff is still going to apply. Um, I would go ahead and open up one to do specifically for YouTube. So because that is not up and the other one is not even up, is going to go out to my email list Friday. Just let me know if you are interested in that. I don't really do Facebook DMs, but you guys can feel free to send me an email at timolin@americasfavoritea.com. And again, it's my first name, Timolin, at americasfavoritea.com. Or if you're on LinkedIn, you can send me a DM because I will see that on LinkedIn. But let me see. See, Charlene agrees with me. Love hot seat coaching. You learn so much from everyone else's questions. Karina says, when would that be? I'm laughing not at you, I'm laughing at me because I was going to say, oh, next month, but duh, it would be next month. Um, So if I did it, honestly, I would probably survey the people doing it first before any payments were made to see if a weekend or an evening would work better. Because while a lot of us are entrepreneurs, everybody is not full time or they have other obligations throughout the day. For example, you are um, homeschooling. So, being a former homeschoolee, I know it's not ideal for you to meet in the middle of the day. So probably, like I said, I would look to see if a weekend or evening would work better to get that 2 hours in. But for that, I would do it. It would be sometime next month because what I would want to do in it, Karina, when I look at my content calendars, I like to go at least at minimum a month, but I like to get a quarter knocked out. So even if we don't get a quarter knocked out in your 20-minute session, I would want you to have enough foundation that we do a month together and then you can go knock out the next quarter because it makes it so much easier when you know what you're going to talk about because you just look at your calendar and you're like, oh, that's what I'm talking about today. And you just hop on, show up and do it. So, Charlene, I was actually referring to it being a one time thing. But again, if I had the interest in doing it, um, it's something because I enjoy doing it too. And what I don't think a lot of people realize is when you're coaching, teaching something, like I still do learn a lot as well. So if I had a group that was interested in doing it monthly, or even if you guys wanted to do it every other month or once a quarter, I would definitely be down to do that. But what I was just bringing up, that would only be a one-time thing. Yeah, I hadn't even thought that far in advance, ironically. Yeah, if you guys wanted to do it once a month or like I said, once a quarter, because I think I would want to give it a little more time because sometimes people get discouraged after a month of putting out content, but realistically, that's only 4 videos if you've only committed to doing once a week. You haven't really given YouTube enough traction unless you're starting out with like FAQs that clients ask you, because then when you get asked, you can send it right out, right? So you're kind of hacking your own success there. But if you're doing it completely organic, 4 weeks isn't really enough to say, hey, this is working, this isn't working. Versus if you have a quarter worth of data, so we have 12 videos, then it's like, okay, maybe we need to tweak this. We need to take a look at the search engine optimization, which I didn't even get into today, with the tagging the videos and that type of thing. Alrighty. I do not see any other questions. I know there is a lag, but I'm just going to trust and believe that we are done. You all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for spending an hour and a half of time with me the night before Thanksgiving. I appreciate you all. The replay will be on whatever platform you're on right now, but I am going to also upload it to the YouTube channel just in case you don't feel like scrolling my Facebook or LinkedIn. So you will be able to find it here on YouTube as well. All right. Well, you all have a good evening. Happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you out here in internet world. Bye. Am I still?